Okay, I'll just share my screen. Please let me know if you guys can see my screen.
Sir, we can see, sir.
Yes, it's visible, Tarun.
Okay. Okay, so before I go ahead and rant about everything, first I want to know if you guys have any prior knowledge or maybe some idea about programming. So even if it's just a word or something random, it's okay. Just let me know. And for the people who do not like to speak, my chat section is also open, so you can type it there as well. Okay. So any ideas, anyone? If not, it's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. Before I go ahead, I just want to give you a little backstory. So, uh, so actually, program. Don't address me as sir, please. You can keep it casual. I'm like 2 years, 2 or 3 years older than you. I'm just a first year engineering student. So keep it casual. It's type of advanced technology. Okay, it's great to see your answers. Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you guys. One thing I would like to tell you guys before I start my session. It's been 3 to 4 months since I started my engineering. And the first thing I noticed between me and my classmates was that there was a very big difference. Like there's a huge skill gap there, right? And because of this, they were losing out on many opportunities. I have been into coding since eighth grade and I got serious in it during my 10th. So most of my schoolmates did not have the privilege that I did to learn programming. Since I was a CBSE student, we were taught Java just in eighth grade. And as it went on, I grew more interest in it and I started learning. So I hope from today's seminar, even if it's few key points that you will learn or you would remember, I want you guys to have that motivation or have that feeling that you want to explore more and learn more. So we'll try to not keep this as the typical boring seminar that I have also seen, because 4 or 5 months ago I was sitting at your places, 12th grade, listening to many of these seminars, and we'll get distracted. Our phones are around here. We open a tab on YouTube and we start seeing something. I understand, but I just hope that I'll try to keep this very short and quick, 35 minutes to 40 minutes at max, and just try to pay a little attention and see if there is something worth learning in this. So few key points or basic instructions before we go. So not to be very formal, but this is so that we can have a little decorum as we go forward. So try to interact as much as possible, okay? Because sessions like this become harder and harder to come by as you grow older. Now, when I was in my 12th, there were so many sessions that we had, but I was too afraid to ask out about. And now that I'm in engineering, there is nobody who actually cares if I'm understanding something or not. So if you don't understand something, open your mic and free feel to ask me, even if it's like 1,000 times, even if it's something very, very stupid, it's absolutely fine. Just feel free to ask anything. And second, if I'm going too slow or I'm going too fast, if you or I use a term which you don't understand, just tell me to explain about it. Third, try to pay attention and not get distracted. As I said, because it's online, I understand it's very, very tempting to, play some music, watch some filter copy video, but just try to pay attention. And fourth, if few of you can turn on your cameras, it would be great, because then I would feel like I'm actually speaking to a class. And turn off your mics when you aren't talking, because none of us like the buzzing sound, obviously. All right. I think we should start then. Great. So can some of you tell me what this is?
Sir, PC.
right?
Laptop.
Laptop, PC.
Laptop.
Excellent. So, a computer or laptop is a machine or device that will perform many processes, calculations, and operations within micro milliseconds. Okay, before you can even think of it, a computer will do the job. Okay, but these machines aren't exactly smart. And what do I mean by this? A computer by itself can't do anything. It requires instructions or procedures that a human has to tell this computer to do. Okay, even though the user isn't telling it this, the people who have made this laptop have already given it the instructions. Now, this instruction should be in a language that these computers understand. Today, you are unable to understand what I am telling because I am speaking in English, which is a language you also understand. But if I was probably say speaking in like French or German or some language, you don't know, obviously you wouldn't be able to understand me, right? So, what language does a computer actually understand?
Binary.
Binary, great. So, the computer understands only ones and zeros. In the term of computer languages, we call this as binary. Okay, but why only these two? Why don't we have many more? Because this one and two is very easy for us to provide to computers at the hardware level. What do I mean by this? So if you see a computer, it's actually connected to a socket, right? There is a wire through this. So think of two wires. One wire will have electricity through it. That will be considered one. One wire will not have current through it. That will be considered as zero. As you can see here, can you guys like see the bottom part, or is this blocking it?
It's visible.
Okay, wait. So as you can see, one has a light bulb and zero, it has it off. Okay. So, but now we have a simple program, even a very basic program will require many lines of code. And if you're thinking of something on a huge scale, like a video game which you play, or maybe Zoom application over which we are having this call, can you imagine writing thousands and thousands of lines of just ones and zeros and ones and zeros? No, right? This is why we have programming languages. Since we as humans cannot just go on writing 0, 1, 0, so there are few great inventors who have come out with programming languages through which we as humans can deliver instructions to computers. Okay, so we'll just look down on the timeline, and we'll go back in history to understand how we've come here today. So first was machine language. Okay, that is the binary language, the zeros and ones, which is very hard for humans to directly write out on. Next came the assembly language, which had few keywords. It had few, it had apostrophes, few symbols, but it was still very hard for humans to be able to easily write code on it. And finally, we came across something called as the high-level programming languages. This is what we use today to give instructions to computers. In this high-level programming languages, we came across many symbols, we came across a structured syntax, we came across keywords that meaning the ones which computers were able to understand. Here you might obviously have a question telling me that, why can't we just write it in plain English? The problem here is in English, there are multiple ways me or you could tell a sentence to a computer. Maybe I might use some different words, you'll use some different words. So the computer won't exactly understand what to do. Hence why programming languages have particular syntax. They have keywords using which you are supposed to write the code. But as I previously told, the computer still only understands ones and zeros, and we are still giving the computer a basic different level code. So how is it understanding us? So what happens is this code, or for now, let's just call it text, that we write, which has the keywords and syntax, it goes to something called as compilers or interpreter. I'll explain the meaning in a second, which will turn this into a machine language code. Machine language, as we just saw earlier is zeros and ones. So whichever keyword you've used will have a particular, binary code, which it will get converted in this compiler or interpreter. The difference between these two is that in a compiler, your entire piece of code, what you're writing, will get converted to machine language code in one try. So the entire thing will get compiled in one shot. While on the interpreter level, it happens line by line. Okay. Few examples of programming languages are Python, C++, Java, JavaScript, Perl, Go, Ruby. There are many more, but most people get intimidated by looking at the languages, thinking it's very hard. They need to learn everything, but it isn't so. Okay, even if you know the basics of few at ground level, know the fundamentals of few, it's more than enough for you guys. Okay, let's look at some real life examples here. Okay, this is a high level code. High level, from high level I mean high level language code. Okay, I hope you guys know what are even and odd numbers. A number divisible by 2 is even, those are odd. So basically here we are telling, let a number be 6, and if a number is divisible by 2, it's even, else it's odd. Now this code will go through the compiler, all right, and it will come out in this form, binary. It will be in zeros and ones, and this will be understood by the computer. So the laptop or the computer will understand now what to exactly do. Okay. Now before we go ahead, and I'll give you a roadmap to exactly learn programming or from where you should learn, there is another soft skill or more important skill you need before you learn programming. Any guesses what that might be?
Python.
Python is a programming language. So I'm talking about the skill. Okay, maths. That's a good approach. Math is, yeah. Someone said it. Problem solving, logic, exact, logical thinking. This is what separates a developer or a programmer working in Amazon, who's earning in lakhs, versus a normal person who knows programming, working 9 to 5 in some other job. Logical thinking. All right. Logical thinking, in basic words, can be said as your approach to a particular problem. So we all know, like, programming is can be considered as a tool to solve any problem. So there are issues, we need solution to this, and getting the right solution, the optimum solution, is logical thinking. Let's see that with a small example. Okay. Imagine few people are having an eating competition. Fine. So they give you plates of food. Some people might eat with their hand. Some people might eat with cutlery. Some might, go ahead, use their own ways to eat. What the fact what they use doesn't matter. The end result matters. The person who eats fastest will win. So what we're telling is the end goal is the same, but the approach everyone takes will be different. This is exactly where you can be different from others. Your approach to a particular problem is what shows, is how good your logic is. On a big company level scale, let's just take Google. Okay, Google has thousands of, how many of our clients they tend to. Me as a programmer, if I'm able to find a way to even save 10 KB of data per customer, can you imagine the amount of help this will do to the company in terms of revenue? We can save so much money on just, where I'm storing the data, if I as a programmer am efficient enough to save space. Okay? To build the logic, right? I have two simple quizzes for you guys next. I would love it if you could participate in that. Um, so, can you see this one here?
Yes.
Okay. So, if you are going to, tilt this up, what do you think would be the bottom view from A, B, C, and
It will
D?
be B.
C, C, C.
B. C.
Okay. How many of you say B? Raise your hand.
It
Is
depends on which side we tilt from.
Okay. The answer is still there's only one answer in this. Okay, so if any one of you want to, okay, whoever says B, okay, one of you who's studying B, can you unmute yourself and explain why?
Because we need to check the square box first, and then we need to check like yellow and green sticks is intersected by red stick, and yellow, the other side yellow and green stick is intersected by green. Green and red is intersected by yellow. Red and green is intersected by blue.
Okay, so which one is your answer? B.
B.
B. Okay, so tell me this, in B, right? We can look at four sides, correct? Can you see this four sides? Look at the four sides here. Is there the blue on the
Sorry, I was saying C. My option was C.
So
Yeah.
the correct answer is C. So if you were to tilt, this box, which is like this, a pyramid, if you were to see it from front, you will see that, the borders is as in C and the intersection point is like this. Okay, ready for next question? Okay, try this one. So basically, tell me what will come in place of the question mark. I'll give you guys, don't answer direct. Okay. I want everyone to try. Just let me know what you think. Okay,
6.
great. So can someone tell me how it sits?
9, 8, 7, 6 and 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, that can be one way to look at it. Anyone else that sees a little more? Okay, so that is like, the first view basis. That is what you can directly see of, right? Anyone else has a,
It is in
maybe
between 9 and 7, 6 is in between 7 and 5, 4 is in between 5 and 3, and between 7 and 5 we will have 6 only.
Absolutely right. So, great work. Thank you, guys. So basically, there is a pattern here that you can see. Okay, 7 plus 1 is 8. 7 minus 1 is 6. Similarly, for 5, there's 6 and 4, and so on and so forth. So the number x here should be 1 lesser than 7 and 1 more than 5. So hence 6 comes in place. Okay. So here we have seen very, very basic level of logic thinking. So looking at this, I want to give you guys the pattern of how you build your logic thinking. So the first step which you do is analyze. You're going to look at your problem. You're going to see all the key factors and you'll analyze on the first basis and second basis. First one will be just what you can see on top without you overthinking about it, what you can see. Like the first person who said 9, 8, 7 and 6 will come, a first view basis. Secondly, you will look at patterns. You'll see about what makes more sense. Coming from this, your next step would be visualization. For example, if I didn't have, or maybe if this picture was in a big scale where I'm using 3-digit numbers, 4-digit numbers, it would be very hard for you to directly guess the answer. So at that point of time, we need to learn two things. One is to break down the problem into smaller chunks. So if this is one big question, I'm going to cut it into 2 to 3 easier, smaller pieces, which I can see at once and give a solution for. And next step, I'm going to try to visualize that, or maybe put it down on pen and paper, how that problem will look and how I can take a solution for it. Okay. So if you guys like the questions like this and you want to build your logic thinking more, here are a few websites, where you can learn that. One I would recommend is the Online Test Center. They have a logical problems webpage. You can find good problems there. Second would be a Brightside YouTube channel. A few of the videos have really good, intriguing questions which you might like. Other than that, there are Instagram pages and more YouTube channels where you can definitely learn. I mean, we are the internet generation after all. All it takes for you to learn is go on to Google, type where can I learn logic thinking, and you will get more than enough, sites. Now, this is, the key, or maybe what's the main part why we are here today. This will be the roadmap to learning programming. So for this particular section, I would ask you guys to, have a paper around you and a pen. And I don't want you guys to like make notes or anything, but just key points or maybe a question you might get when I'm telling this so that you can ask me later. Okay, cool. I'll just check. Yeah, great. So let's start. First one, the first step is actually where most people end their journey. Even before it starts, the journey ends because of two mistakes. One, they don't make a choice, and two, they do not stick with it. What most people do is they overthink themselves, while picking a language. They'll be like, okay, for few people who might know, Python is very widely used nowadays. So Python is everywhere you see it. So people be like, okay, so Python is into use, so I will learn Python. But few months in, they'll realize that their preference or their field of interest has nothing to do with Python. So they don't stick with it. They just leave and move to next language. So that shouldn't be the thing. So the step one, which I think is a very important step, is selecting a core language, selecting the language and sticking to it. Okay. So hopefully I'll be able to send a video link or like a PDF where I have explained how you can select a language for you. I'll be sharing that later. But for now, if anyone doesn't want to get too involved, just wants to make a start in programming, I would recommend you start with C or Python, because these two language will help you build a great fundamental, a strong foundation, and they're pretty easy to learn. So C or Python would be my choice. Next, go to YouTube free code camp and take a tutorial. So all you have to do is, once you've selected your language, just head down to YouTube, type your language name, tutorial, and free code camp. Free code camp is this amazing YouTube channel, and it's actually a community where they teach coding entirely for free. They have some of the best tutorials, best explanations, and this is actually where I learned majority of my coding from. So free code camp has been there for years. They have excellent teachers, so I recommend you go ahead, go to your type whichever language you want to learn, tutorial followed by free code camp, and you'll find many videos. Don't worry much about which you're going to take. Whichever seems like it has a lot of views or it has good comments, just take that and start. Step 3 is practice and learn for just 30 minutes a day. So previously, when I used to conduct Python weekend classes, a huge problem which I used to see in students was that on the weekend day, they would sit and practice for 3 to 4 hours and then forget about it for the whole of the next week. Then they'll again come back on the weekend and struggle to even do what they were able to do last weekend. This is because they weren't consistent. Even if you're able to give only 30 minutes, and I know all of you have busy schedules, you will have so many assignments, so many subjects to learn, and especially 12th graders and 10th graders with their board exams. But if you're able to take out 30 minutes a day and learn maybe one topic, practice that one topic, and maybe just look what you did yesterday, you will be better than 90% of the new learners. That is all you need to do. Just be a little consistent, put in a little hard work, and you'll be able to do it. Step 4, here, learn the fundamentals. So many people that I have seen have done this mistake very recently. So when lockdown came up, Python really went into this huge hype. So with Python, so did new technologies such as machine learning or AI also went up. So there were many pages on Instagram that were posting few codes. They would just give code snippets that people would just simply blindly type and run and feel like they've learned something, which actually doesn't work. So unless your fundamentals or your fundamental concepts are very strong, no matter what you learn, you won't be able to remember it, because even if you have learned something very complex without fundamentals, imagine you make one simple mistake in that, you will not know how to correct it because your fundamentals won't be strong. So first and most important step, learn your fundamentals and practice it over and over again. Now step 5, this is where the whole game changes. This is exactly where the previous difference I was talking about between developers and Amazon and normal people. This is where it counts. Problem solving using programming. So we have been working on building your logic. Now it's time to apply this logic onto your programming. Okay, because now as a programmer, you will have some issues. Probably say a program is maybe taking too much memory. A program is maybe going into too many lines. You need to have solutions for this. These solutions can also come in form of DSA, which is data structures and algorithm. But that is beyond the scope of this seminar. Hopefully, sometime I can have you guys over for another seminar where I teach fundamentals of DSA. But for now, I would like to show you guys one simple, a very simple application of where I was able to put problem solving yesterday. Okay, so I hope you can see this. Yeah. Yes, great. Before, even making something as a calculator would take a huge number of lines. Okay, building something as basic as a calculator would take huge number of lines because there would be so many different calculations. Because if there is 4 + 5 - 2 or something, first you would have to calculate the 4 and 5, then the -2, which would take a lot of time. So I got around that by using a different function, using which I was able to code a calculator in less than 100 lines of code, leaving all the space. So I was able to build this in just 100 lines of code. So if I was to run it,
अब अकेला हो
right? So if you guys see this, this is a calculator, and you can simply put in anything and you'll get the answer. So a simple GUI, this is called the GUI. So a simple calculator like this, previously which used to take many number of lines of code, has now we can do this in just 100 lines. Okay, so this part exactly is where I was able to use some logic to help reduce my code to smaller pieces. So because of this, now not only is my code smaller, it's also way faster for me. Okay, so this is one simple example where you can put problem solving in, but there are multiple, many more examples. And now step 6, keep practicing, because consistency is the key. It doesn't matter if one day you practice for 7 hours in that one day and then next day you completely forget about it. That won't help you learn. Even if you're able to put 30 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, it's more than enough. Just keep going continuously. Okay, now finally, one question you might have got, where do you write this code? So I've been speaking of writing code, practicing, but where do you write all of this code? So generally, we use something called as IDE, which is an integrated development environment for writing code. These are nothing but pieces of software which have multiple tools and multiple it has multiple functions which can help us make it easy to write code. Okay, they have separate IDEs for their own work. For example, if you are building an Android application, you would use Android Studios. If you were building an iOS application, you would use Xcode. If you were using PyCharm, if you wanted to, build something in Python, you can use PyCharm. But this would be more of language oriented. For someone like me who has, who writes code in multiple languages, it's easier for me to use a text editor, save the file using the correct extension, and then run it. So if you guys want to check out more on IDEs, just go on to Google. You can type IDE, and I'm sure you'll have a beautiful paragraph there. But for now, just know that it is the software that's used for building applications or programs. Right. If you got any queries, from what I've spoken, feel free to ask me here. And if you guys, few of you might be shy to, ask in front of everyone, that's absolutely fine. Here are two of my Instagram pages. You can message me on any one of them with your queries, and I'll get back to you. So any queries? So can we use, yeah, so I have been using VS Code itself. VS Code is a perfect tool. I actually recommend everyone to use VS Code. Absolutely, you can use that. Okay. All right. Thank you guys for being such a great audience. Thank you for listening. I hope I have helped you guys learn a thing or two. So if you have any queries, feel free to ask me. Thank you. All right. If let me just stop sharing so that I can look at your questions. So there is no best language because every language has its own utility. A language will be best depending on what you want to do. For example, if you are interested into machine learning or AI, you would go with Python or Ruby. If you are interested into building websites, you would go HTML, CSS, JavaScript, something on that side. So I'll probably share a video or a video link or a PDF that will help you decide, which language you should probably learn. Um, so, where can you practice these coding? So, for now, I would say practice with basic questions that you will get in textbooks. So, you're in 10th, right? So, what you could do is just go to Google and, you will find the 11th grade CBSE textbook for, whichever language you want to learn. In that, they have practice questions where you can practice for now. In maybe the next session, I'll give you guys websites where you can live test your code, see how good it is, see where you can improve. So I'll give you guys those in the next session, right? All right, thank you guys so much, and thank you for your time. I hope I didn't bore you all, and I hope you learned something.
Yes,
Bishop?
yes, the session was really good, not boring at all. So if you guys have any doubts, you can just start asking, or we can wrap up the session now. And also,
Will
I'll
be
be
sending the links for downloading that VS Code or anything like that, or we only have to search and download it?
I'll give you the link if you just give me a second. So I've sent you a link somewhere you can download VS Code.
ಸ್ಮೆಲ್ ಬರ್ದ್ರಾ
Tarun, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, okay. fine. Yeah, so for this channel, just I'll send you the link. So I've sent you the link for the YouTube channel, which is Free Code Camp, one of my favorite places to learn from. And there is absolutely nothing that you can't learn from here, okay? I mean, starting all the way from basic programming to building amazing projects, there's everything here.
Great. So everybody, I talked about the content that we'll be giving you in the weekdays, right? We will be giving you the YouTube sessions from Free Code Camp. We'll give you like small 1 hour or half an hour videos every day, and you can practice from that. And we'll also give you the ID. But if you have any doubts from the mentor, you can ask them right now. And also I'll be sending a Google form, a feedback form that you guys will have to fill, and it will help us make the session better next time. So any one of you who has any doubts? Actually, are we going to start? Most probably it will be Python, right, Tarun? We can start.
Or Python, but again, it really depends on which field or which industry you're more interested in. So we'll send you a proper guide for this, maybe a PDF book where you can, refer to and see where you should start with.
Okay. Discord link we'll be sending you by the evening or maximum tomorrow. We are trying to build it better for you. Okay. When will you get Discord tomorrow? Most probably tomorrow.
It will be sent in the class groups, right?
Yes, class groups. So sorry that the link was not link for this meeting was not sent into your class groups today. I don't know what happened, but next time we'll make sure we make it early, most probably 1 or 2 days before we do the session. Okay.
Can you share this today's class recording in the groups?
Yeah, sure. We'll send it send the recordings today. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Tarun. I think we can wrap the session now.
Yeah, thank you, Bishop. Thank you guys for having me here. But I hope you liked it.
Thank you everybody for joining despite the link issue and everything. Thank you so much everybody for joining. That's a wrap. Thank you.
Thank you.
And please fill the feedback form, okay? Right now, if possible.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Thank you.